This video might just change your perspective on life forever. I used to have dreams about heaven, and it's not what you expect. The lesson I learned through this that I'm about to share with you will completely change the way you look at your life. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another one of these videos. If this video helps you, then make sure you subscribe and watch some of my other ones. I believe if this one helps you, then some of my other ones will likely help you as well. I make these videos talking about self-improvement and life and just relatable things and with the hopes of helping you with your life and your journey, especially those younger than me, because there's a lot to be learned. And yeah, anyways, I want to go over this dream that I specifically had about heaven. I'm not saying this was actually heaven itself. I know a lot of the times they hear about people having dreams of heaven, and it's like, nah, like it's kind of unbelievable that somebody has actually been to heaven, has actually been to like an afterlife place. I'm not claiming to have actually been to like the physical heaven. However, heaven is 100% good, 100% perfect, flawless in every way. That includes how you feel. That includes every metric of life, whether it's your peace, whether it's your contentment, your joy, your physical health, mental health, spiritual health. It's how comfortable you are in your body, all these things. And so what we have to realize is that heaven, while heaven may be a physical place, whether you believe in that or not, heaven, the concept of heaven is just 100% good, and the concept of hell is just 100% bad. And so theologically, we would say heaven is 100% God and God's attributes, and hell is just the absence of God and no God, no godly attributes. And that's why it's considered hell, because heaven is the honesty, the truth, the peace, the innocence, the purity, the love, the joy that you feel. All these things come from God, and so heaven is just a place with all those things like up to like the max. And so if we think of like a video game, like the little like sliders for like how skilled your character is, could be like maxed out for all the good attributes in heaven, and 0 for all the bad attributes. While we're on earth, we get a mixture of all different variables. We get maybe a low level of innocence, a low level of joy, a low level of peace, but sometimes we have a lot of peace in life, or a lot of joy, or a lot of contentment, and other times we're severely depressed and afflicted and oppressed, and our lives are kind of bad. And so earth is just a mixture. It's kind of up in the air. It's open to change. However, heaven is a stable 100 out of 100, and hell is a 0 out of 100. And so when you look at it that way, it starts to make a whole lot more sense, the concept of heaven and hell. And so in this video, I'm going to be telling you about a dream I had of heaven where I felt 100 out of 100, where I felt the most peace, the most love for myself and other people, and just like an existential knowledge of the universe, of what is like true. The joy, the peace, the contentment, the love, the innocence I had, the purity I had, my body felt light, like all these things were true about this dream I had. And it felt very, very real. It felt very, I forgot the term, but it felt very, very real. And I'm telling you, I have never experienced something like this before. And whenever I went to go and talk to people about it, from what I've known, from anybody I've talked to about it, they have not experienced this either. And so I think I was about 12 or 13, and I had this dream. The beginning of the dream goes as this. It was a little hard to follow with after all these years, but I was in this little like cabin library place, and it kind of seemed like a library. I think I remember there being like rows of bookshelves, and it was very peaceful in a weird way, like kind of like how you'd go to your grandma's house, and your grandma's house just feels rustic but like peaceful. And I apologize, I'm coughing right now, so it's going to be a lot of jump cuts. But in the cabin or library, I saw what looked like 2 little kids. I think it was 2. It might have been 3, but I think it was 2, running around the bookshelves, going through the aisles. And I only caught glimpses of them going through the aisles before I saw them again later on. But the thing about these kids, though, was it didn't look like they had bodies. Now, I don't know how to explain this, but they almost just look like souls, like how you would imagine like a soul would look like, drawn out, like animated. It was just like kind of a ball of light. But for some reason, for some weird reason, I could tell they were kids, and so I don't know why that was. My vision was very blurry at this time, so I don't remember what they looked like exactly. I just remember this factor. They were playing, laughing, full of joy, and that joy almost radiated onto me and made me happy. And I guess I was already happy, but it almost like illuminated the fact that I was happy, which was very, very strange because I've never felt this happiness in my life. Keep in mind, at this time in my life, I was going through severe abuse from my stepmother and my neglectful father, who I've since forgiven, but doesn't take away the truth of the matter. And so my life was really hard. I was struggling physically, mentally, spiritually. I didn't want to live at certain times, and I was fighting for my life at different times. And yeah, so to have this dream of feeling so at peace and so happy was very strange for me. It's almost like God just knew that I needed that. I kept walking until I got to the back of this cabin, and I opened the door that goes outside, and then all of a sudden, I am greeted with this very lush green grass. The darkest green, the most luscious green you could imagine. Like, it looked wet. In the very near distance in front of me, I saw several mountains with mist nearly covering the view of them. Just mist that's kind of in the air. So this looked very Pacific Northwest type atmosphere, which makes sense if it was made up in my head, because which I don't believe it was. I believe this was 100% a dream from God, especially because of other circumstances in my life. But if it was made up, it would make sense because it was very Pacific Northwest, and that's where I'm from. So, like the nature and the mountains and the trees and the mist. But it also could have been just more fitting for me to have that because that's what I grew up with. Even though I could tell that it was very misty and cold, like very, very cold, probably 30, 40 degrees outside. Despite that, I didn't feel any discomfort. I felt as though I was out of my body and in like a soul-like state. This like soul-like state, I was out of my body. I didn't feel, let me put it this way so you could understand how I felt. There is no greater feeling on this planet than the feeling of not having your body. I know it sounds really weird, but there are so many discomforts and pains and limitations and like almost like you're trapped in a human body, that it comes with a human body. After feeling this, I remember feeling, when I woke up after this dream, I remember feeling so heavy and like almost like trapped. You gotta realize, in this like science based world we live in, which by the way, I love science, I approve of science, science is true, I'm not like anti-science by any means, believe in science. However, when you're in that soul body, you feel 100% free. You feel like moldable, mendable, I guess would be the word. You feel like you can move freely. You feel like you're free from the prison of your body. Don't get me wrong, our bodies are great, but it's so amazing to be without one. Having experienced that, you feel so light. I don't know how else to put this, but this is something I've always thought was interesting too. I always believed in my head that the more oppression you have in your life, the more mental health problems, the more like actual demonic attacks you have or demonic control over your life, the more you almost feel heavy and oppressed. When I became Christian and like came to God in my darkest moments, and I had that born again experience that Christians often talk about, which I didn't know was real until it happened to me, I noticed afterwards I felt so light. I went from feeling heavy and like almost like my body was heavy and my mind was heavy and my soul was heavy. I went from that to feeling so like light and free and like weightless. And to go back to the science thing, I might have to cut this to earlier, but I believe in science, 100% I believe in science. However, there is no doubt that we have a soul that science cannot measure. It's just true. There's no way we don't have a soul. We're not animals. We're not just like chemicals firing. We have a soul. We have like a person to us, a persona. You don't feel hungry in this body, you don't feel thirsty, you don't feel cold or hot, you don't feel any kind of temperature really. I just kind of felt room temperature, but it was like the temperature that was comfortable for me. And so I could be outside in this obviously cold atmosphere and feel perfect. I didn't feel adverse to it, I felt great. And so you're not worried at all. You don't realize when you have nothing to worry about in life, when you have nothing to worry about, you feel so free mentally. Nobody knows how this feels, by the way. Nobody actually knows how this feels, because even if you're a kid, or even if you have your life in order, you still have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of just like unnecessary thoughts or overwhelming thoughts, or maybe you have secrets or anything. It could be anything. But not to have that and just to be present, not worrying about how you look or getting taxes done or getting to work on time, but just being present in the moment. That's something most of us can't do. That I talk about this a lot in my videos, being present. Being present is the cure to depression. I mean that 100%. That the cure to depression is being present. But it's very hard to do, especially in this day and age and in this society that we live in. And so it's almost impossible to be 100% present in this life. But after, in heaven, you feel 100% present, and that presence makes you almost more grateful and more at peace and more happy and content and like loving of life in all the small things in life. Because you're present, you're able to enjoy it because you're present. And so I had no subconscious thoughts at all, no intrusive thoughts, no negative thoughts telling me, oh, this person, oh, remember that thing that happened 5 years ago, oh, remember that person, remember this, remember that heartbreak, remember that fight you got into, remember this embarrassing moment. None of that. I felt loved too, very loved by something that's much bigger than me, which I personally believe to be God. You don't have to believe that. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but I believe it was God. But I felt something bigger than me loved me, and I felt, yeah, it feels, now I'm getting married to my fiance very, very soon, and our love is amazing. I have no doubt this woman is my soulmate. However, this love that I felt from God or whoever this being was a million times better than anything I've had experienced in this relationship or in any relationship ever. And that says a lot, because I truly believe this woman is my soulmate. For that reason alone, my soul felt like it had a purpose, and I could have done nothing with my life. This is the interesting thing. I could have done nothing with my life in this time, in this experience, in this dream, and still felt like I was of worth, that I was valuable, that I was like almost like worthy of existing. Simply because this larger being loved me, and like I was in his presence and I was around him or something. I don't know. Whatever it was. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this dream for two very life-changing reasons. The first reason being, we underestimate what really matters in this life. From being worried about finances, worried about this phone call or that job or this time constraint or this relationship or this employee or that and that. And what's even worse than all that is being addicted to corn, video games, junk food, things that are destroying not just your body but your literal soul. That is hell on earth. But you can experience the attributes of heaven on earth too. You can experience the other end of that on earth too. And even better, you can experience it in the afterlife. The biggest takeaway that younger me got from this dream was how beautiful life actually is, even the small things. We just can't enjoy it because of the darkness that is around us or in us. Walking home, watching the sunset, breathing in the autumn air, hiking on a trail, climbing mountains, these things. And it doesn't have to be something as monumental as doing such things. When you're just present in your life, doing dishes or cooking food, when you're just 100% in the moment and not in your head all the time, you actually enjoy your life. There's so many things to be grateful for and present for and to enjoy. Picking out a sick rock or leaf while you're on a hike, dancing in the rain, learning a new skill, doing that thing you've been putting off that you want to do but you just feel too in your head or stressed or worried or distracted to do. These things are so much better than watching corn or playing video games, and you know that deep down you know that. It's better than doom scrolling. You know that. Yet every time you go to that party or play that game late at night or doom scroll late at night, you've surely had these moments where you're doing that and you're just thinking, there has to be more to life than this. There has to be more to life than this. And that's because there is. There's so many beautiful things you're missing out on in life, and I mean it when I say that. Monks have it all understood. They get it. Now, they're not experiencing this kind of heaven by any means, because I've been there. I've meditated. I've done all these things. But you can get pretty dang close. You need to run away from anything that's preventing you from living this spiritual, fulfilling, present life, so that you can experience as much of heaven on earth as possible, because you deserve that, and it is possible. It's easy to not know or to forget that it is possible. You just have to work towards it and change your life. You need to run away from porn and desexualize your brain, because that's a big one. Quit playing video games all day and chase a purpose in your life instead. Go for more walks, be in more nature, be curious, learn to meditate and start breathing properly, because as humans we're not even breathing properly anymore. How crazy is that? Become financially free if you can, so you don't have to worry about that stupid job or all these things that you have to worry about in your day-to-day life, the anxieties. Especially if you're tied down to that job because of family or relationships or whatever obligations you have. These are all things that you can learn about on my channel, but you have to be willing to put in the work too. So what's the second reason I told you about this dream? I told you there was 2 reasons. The second reason is that something that you are not gonna like, and many of you are gonna click off, but it's that there's something bigger than us out there. Believing in God, and specifically Jesus Christ as being God in the human flesh, is vital. I promise you, and you can listen to my full testimony somewhere on this channel, but I genuinely got cured of disorders when I gave my life to Christ. And yes, I still struggle. I'm not saying I don't struggle anymore, but this thing, whatever it is, transformed my life so much to where I just can't help but share it with you guys. When I prayed out to God, and I'm not BSing you, when I prayed out to God and with the knowledge I had, started doing His way of doing things. Depression gone, anxiety gone, eating disorder gone, all these things, trauma gone. All these things go away when you follow Him truly. Now it's hard, it's not easy. Christians don't often follow Him very well. That's why they are the way they are. And we're not always great examples to you guys, but this life is so amazing when you walk with God, truly. And so, just being in the presence of God is so special. And if there's one thing I'd want you to take away from this video, it's that. It's to read the Bible, get curious, gain some knowledge, understand the good versus evil, understand that Jesus is actually God and why He died on the cross. And then, when the time is right, wholeheartedly give your life to Christ. Because I really believe you won't regret it, because this changed my life. And when I encountered God and I came and I called out to Jesus Christ for the first time, I experienced a very good glimpse of that dream of heaven I had. That same feeling I felt in that dream of heaven, I felt when I called out to Jesus Christ and I was born again. And I had that experience of being born again. I felt that rush of peace. I felt that rush of love, contentment from something else. It's real. It's out there. I promise you, it's out there for you. It's waiting for you. I love you all, and I will see you all in the next one.